What is an outbound offer and why do we need it? Basically, an outbound offer is something that attracts completely cold prospects to your main offer. So some people, for example, Alex Hormozi, they call it like attraction offer. But in this case, let's call it outbound offer because it's an offer where it would be stupid to say no to. And in this chapter, we will engineer an offer like this. Step by step, we will engineer an outbound offer which you can use in your cold email or cold calling campaigns to convince clients to start working with you. Because if you use the same offer that you're using for your inbound campaigns, for your outbound campaigns, I can guarantee you that your conversion will be and instead of 1 out of 10, only 1 out of 60 or 1 out of 100 clients might sign the deal. So it's worth taking the time to create an outbound offer specifically for your campaigns. When I started doing cold emailing, I thought it's all about messaging and lead lists. But man, I was completely wrong. The offer is much more relevant than if you have a great outbound offer that, for example, includes performance guarantees or other things where you reverse the risk. So basically you take more risk than the client. Then this is much more important than messaging. Because even with a bad message but a great offer, you can convert clients. It doesn't work the other way around. If your messaging is great but your offer doesn't convince any client, all your outbound efforts are useless. So let's focus on creating a great outbound offer. To make it very easy for you, I also added a prompt at the end of this chapter. So in the future, you only have to enter this prompt to ChatGPT and it will automatically create an outbound offer for your campaigns. But to understand the logic of this prompt, let's go through it step by step. So what will an outbound offer do for you? It will enable you to have a fast pilot start with your clients. It will be a win-win situation because you save a lot of time in the sales cycle. Instead of running after your prospects for weeks and weeks, you can just start with the outbound offer. So instead of 6 weeks or 3 months, suddenly your sales cycle reduces to 1 week, which is great in terms of the payback period. For your clients, they also win because they have a kind of guarantee, for example, money back guarantee, performance guarantee, or something else that you can tie to this offer. But how to design? Step 0 is to define the context in which you want to place the offer. So you have to define who is the ICP of your campaign. For example, B2B Series A SaaS companies with 10 to 100 employees. Who do you want to reach there? The head of sales, the CEO, whoever. You have to define it. And you also have to think like your client. So what's the KPI that they are caring about? In terms of the head of sales, it might be the qualified pipeline growth, the number of meetings that they are getting per week or per month. And what are they struggling with? For example, that they are not generating enough leads or meetings with their existing SDRs. As soon as you notice, who do you want to reach out? Who's your ICP? What's the job title? Which pains do they have? You can also define the solution. In our case, for example, we would set up automated outbound sequences with 10 times the reply rate of their normal campaigns. But in your case, you might have another magic or mechanism working for you. So please fill out this sheet step by step with your ICP, with your job titles, with the pains that your target customers might have, and the solution that is relevant for them specifically. This was the rough context, but now we have to get more concrete. What's the tangible outcome that they will reach by working with you? So here, ideally, you have to put in concrete KPIs. Let's say we help B2B SaaS sales teams to book 10 meetings in 20 workdays. This is a concrete promise where we, for example, know we can deliver on it. You have to think about concrete KPIs that apply to your ICP, to the job titles that you're targeting. What would they care about? What is the KPI? What is the outcome? Then fill it out. Next, you have to define the mechanism or the magic, how you're basically doing it. In our case, all the other agencies, they are most of the time either concentrating only on lead gen or on cold calling. So they are either very good in technical setups and using Clay, data enrichment, and so on, or they are doing cold calling, but without a very good mechanism when it comes to LinkedIn ads or cold emails. Our magic is that we are combining the best of both worlds. And that's what makes us stand out, because you get everything from one hand. So the conversion is much, much higher. And you're not having these breaks between GTM engineer, SDR, and account executive, because GTM engineering and SDRs come from one source. So please fill out the mechanism that you're using in the background, that you're using to help your clients generate results. Do it now, because we're doing it step by step. We now have defined the context and the mechanism. Now we will combine it into one concrete statement. So we say we help, for example, Series A SaaS teams to book 10 qualified meetings in 20 workdays using AI personalized cold emails and human warm calling without having to hire internal SDRs or buying new tools. So on an abstract level, we help ICP, here you insert your ICP, achieve outcome in time frame using mechanism without big friction you remove. So what's the most common objection why they don't want to start? This is the friction that you want to mention here proactively. Important, it must sound like a measurable outcome, not like a slogan. Make it measurable, make it concrete, and it will work. Now let's get concrete. What will we offer where the client can't say no? It would be stupid if he says no. Let's define something. It's almost like and the client will love to say yes because it's solving a big problem. He has low risk and he will get an immediate result. In our case, let's call this offer Outbound Kickstart. So prospect feels great to say yes to because it solves a big problem and he gets immediate results with a very, very low risk. So our offer will be called Outbound Kickstart. Within 20 workdays, so around 1 month, we will generate 10 qualified meetings and the client doesn't have to invest more than 5 hours. So oftentimes it's just a 1 hour kickoff meeting, but to stay conservative, we say less than 5 hours client investment. Our goal, of course, is that these clients, they want to have more meetings in the future. So as soon as they are happy with the first 10 meetings that we have generated for them, we can upgrade them to the growth plan in one of the following. And this way it was an easy entry for them. They could gain trust, see that we are able to generate results, and then later on expand the package or the retainer. So why does this outbound offer work? Because it solves a small but high value problem for the client with a very low risk and a high upside if we really are able to deliver on our. But how should you price the offer? What I recommend is that for the pilot or for the outbound offer, you take around 10 to 20% of the value that you would generate for the client. So if you, for example, generate 60,000 euro in pipeline in 1 month, you can charge around 6,000 to 12,000 euro for that 1 month. So in our case, let's say we will charge 5,999 euro for 10 meetings. And later on in the core plan, if they want more meetings, they will pay around 14,999 euro because then they will get much more qualified meetings. To make it easy for you to convert those clients, it's very important that they can see the immediate return on their investment. So design your offer in a way where you're sure that you can deliver on and that the return will be relevant for your client. To make it even easier to say yes to your outbound offer, you can add some or reverse the risk in a way that you take more risk. So it's much easier for the client to say yes to your offer, and for you it will shorten the sales cycle, which is a big advantage. Never neglect this. So what you can say, for example, is if we don't reach goal X, you will get 50% discount, or you will get a 100% discount, or you will get a credit so that we will continue to work for you until we reach that goal. Whatever comes to your mind, experiment, A/B test, check what is enough that you get a yes from the client for your outbound offer. At the beginning, you can be more generous with your guarantees, but as soon as you have more case studies, more testimonials, more references, they will work for you, they will generate the trust for you, and then you don't have to give that big guarantees anymore. But what if the client still says no? To increase the conversion even more, you have to add more proof points, add references, add case studies, Add concrete proof points that make the promise believable with evidence. So in our case, we can, for example, say, hey, our client XYZ, our client Superstars, they generated 64 meetings in 20 workdays, generating 80,000 euro in pipeline or in closed. So this way the client can see that you have already done something similar for a client that is similar to your prospect. The more concrete the case study, the better. Instead of adding 10 vague testimonials that say, oh yeah, it was very nice working with him, try to find 1, 2, 3 testimonials that are very concrete, where you have concrete KPIs, can show a transformation from state A to state. This will add much more trust than just adding 10 random testimonials. One important advice: the more similarity your case study or testimonial has to the prospect's industry or to the prospect's use cases, the more evidence it will add. Because then the client or the prospect really has the feeling, yes, they know what they are talking about, they understand me, they understand my industry, and this increases trust and conversion. So show the client logos, show the faces of the people you work with, show concrete states from A to state B, show what they are saying, how you did it, show the campaign insights. The more real insights you can give to your potential client, the more value it adds, the more trust you gain. And it doesn't even have to be in a perfectly fancy PowerPoint presentation. If you are allowed, or if you have the allowance from your client to show for example, the campaign structure or other things that you did for the client, show it directly live this adds the most and increases your conversion dramatically. But what if the client still doesn't want to say yes? So you gave him a guarantee, you showed him all the testimonials, you showed him the references, you gave him evidence and proof, and still he's saying something, still he has objections. That's normal. Don't take it personal. It has nothing to do with you or your objections are just a way to show that the client has concrete and real interest. If he isn't interested, oftentimes he might make you a compliment just to listen. But if he has some objections, this means that he's concretely thinking about how to use your solution for his company. So you have to be prepared. Prepare a list of potential objections and prepare a list of the things that you can say to answer these objections. Ideally, you will even neutralize potential objections by mentioning them before the client comes up with the objection. So in our case, for example, it might be that the client says, oh, we don't have time for it. Hey, the pilot only requires 2 hours or less than 2 hours or less than 5 hours, whatever. Or we are already using a tool like Cognizant or Apollo or whatever. Then we can say, don't worry, we integrate. You don't need to use a completely new system. Or I can't risk any budget on that. No problem. We have a 100% performance-based guarantee. For example, you have to modify what you can say to which objections. But just to let you know, you can prepare for these objections and it has nothing to do with you personally. This is just part of the game. This shows real interest. The best thing is you can use this prompt to prepare all the potential objections in all the different fields of your business. So just fill out this prompt and you will get an objection map. So a map with all the potential objections that could come up, and you can prepare a solution for every potential objection. Imagine how much time you would have needed before AI to list all these potential objections. Now you have the benefit that you can use AI and it will make it so much easier for you to be prepared for your sales. If you want, you can even add the 10 most common objections to the end of your one-pager. For example, as an FAQ section. If you want, you can even add the 10 most common objections to your one-pager, which you might hand out to your client. So as an FAQ section, the client can already see, okay, this is how they handle this objection, this objection, this objection. And this shows that you know what your clients are worrying about and that you already have a solution in place. After you have completed all the previous steps, you now can sum up everything in a nicely formatted one-pager. So this way, the client can see which ICP you're targeting, which pain you're solving, which outcome they can expect in which time frame, which guarantees you offer, how much money they have to invest, and which proof you can offer that you are able to fulfill on your promise. and which proof you can offer to show that you're able to deliver on your promise. And as I mentioned in the beginning, if you don't have time to go through all of the steps manually, just fill out this little form, put it to ChatGPT, and it will create outbound offer for you. So let's try it out. How does it work? We will just use this option 1. Please check the website of serum.com and fill out the following for Serum GmbH. Serum is one of our clients, and now we will enter this first part of the prompt, and we then add the second part of the prompt, which is this one. So we add it right here, and then we just click on Let's Go, and automatically ChatGPT will generate the offer for us. Let's have a look how long this will take. And it already completed the task. So now we have a core offer. We help medium-sized logistics, transport, and freight companies run all their core logistic processes more efficiently and transparently in weeks using the web-based Serum logistics software without fragmented legacy systems or manual workflows. So in this case, we could offer a 30 to 45 day pilot to quickly prove value before the full rollout of the software. And the name would be something like Fast Start Logistics Accelerator. These are the things that are included, the duration. Then we will demonstrate that we are able to reduce the manual entries by 20%. Clients only have to invest 5 to 8 hours. And after that, we can transition the clients to a full subscription plan. On top, if we don't digitize at least 60% of your daily key logistic workflows, you get 2 additional weeks of expert implementation support for free until we reach it. And this could be a potential pricing. But of course, in this case, we didn't add a lot of internal informations. So the whole offer is based only on information that ChatGPT has from the internet. But if you go through the different steps, or if you fill this out manually, you can enter much more detailed information, more internal information. So the offer then will also be much more concrete. That's it. That's how we can engineer an outbound offer for your cold email campaigns or cold emailing campaigns. This will increase conversion, motivate your whole team because it's much easier to close. And your clients will also be happy because they won't waste any more time in useless sales calls. They can directly start and see the value that you're providing for them. So now let's get going. Please fill out the following AI prompt and then create your own outbound offer. As you saw, it doesn't take more than 2 minutes. To fill this out, you probably will need around 10 minutes, but then you have your outbound offer. And this is an essential step for the whole campaign. Never skip this step.